back is stiff, man. I've been stretching and doing yoga for like hour and a half, 2 hours now. Once you start, it's hard to stop, especially if you smoke. It's just, you just keep going. You just kind of like turn off and just go right for it. I'm about to go for a run right now. I'm a little tired. I got some bad sleep last night, and I haven't really like exercised or gotten the blood pumping in a couple of days. So like I practiced some footwork and like combinations, but barely yesterday, but that still got the blood pumping. Barely though. It was really nothing. So get the blood pumping, wake up a little bit, come back, cook some quesadillas. This is like a little progress, little update. Getting a little bit better, getting more flexible. Update on the breath work. You know, I really don't. There's two main things, three, that I'm concerned with right now in this update, at least on just training, as far as training goes and what I want. I would say the first one, the main one, and this has been the main one for a while now because it's the most exciting to me. I, for a while, have been thinking that it's almost like the final frontier, but I don't think that's accurate, at least in regards to me and where I'm at in my training. So, to start off, the diaphragm. This one's been pretty important for months now. Breath training every single day for, I mean, it's become something I do throughout the day, and I found certain tricks, but like actual breath training, I'd say like, it's hard to put a number on. I really don't pay attention as much as I used to, so my memory's not as good as it used to, which I need to start fixing that. You know, I've kind of gotten stuck in, sure, as things come up and then I get stuck in my own head, and you know, it's just a bad habit of mine. I'll say that because, you know, I've been here before. I know what I'm doing right now. I just need to wake up. But, you know, still training and doing what I need to do. But that right there is the big thing that I got to work on. I got to get my mind straight. And I mean, it's really entirely up to me. It's entirely up to me to make that decision. So that's something I need to do. I'll talk about that more in the next video. But to get back on track, I'd say like starting off, I trained the diaphragm for about like 15 minutes a day in the shower typically, and that kind of evolved. The training itself evolved, so it got more harder. You know, you get better at it, so you just make it a little bit more challenging always, you know, because it would feel kind of worthless to just do the same thing every day for the same amount of time. You know, that's mind-numbing. Like, you're doing this to improve yourself, and here you are doing the same fucking thing again. It's fucking stupid. So, there's that one. At this point, it's kind of started to evolve into yoga more so, because what I've learned is through this breath work, as I've said before, your body is like a knot, a very complicated knot. And there's different types of knots, you know what I mean? Like, you have knots in your muscles, but then you also have, you know, like shortened muscles. You have problems with, you know, fascia, for example, being like kind of tightened up and locked up, and you know, you kind of just have like these movement patterns that you're forced into because of how your body's, you know, compensated for the lack of care you've given it. Meaning, you know, you're not exercising and you're not stretching like you should be, and you're sitting down a lot, and especially if you're stressed out all the time as well. I mean, stress is tension. It's not just in the mind, it's in tension. You get stressed out and some people start to, they just tense up. Might not even see it, but with some people it can be noticeable. And, you know, that becomes something that your body gets used to, and that's something that you have to unwind. And it's complicated. It starts out for me, it started out just attacking, you know? Like, I knew there were certain positions and movements I couldn't do, so I just fucking did it and put some weight behind it, you know? And if it hurt, good. And then I learned that you can't just do that. Although that does help. It really does. You know, that was like a quick fix for me in the beginning. But, you know, you gotta listen to the body is one thing I always kept in the back of my mind. I don't want to injure myself. If I don't listen to my body, I'm guaranteed to injure myself with the way that my brain works. I'm going to just keep leveling it up. And whatever, I'm not going to listen to my body. It hurt like a bitch last time. Let's make it even harder this time. No, you got to take it step by step. So I always kept that in the back of my mind because I knew with the training that I was doing, like if you injured yourself, it was going to be a bad injury because I'm constantly in like very, like just, I'm constantly putting as much load on my body in positions I'm just not used to. In positions that I know, like if that muscle were to like just fucking give out, I'm done. Like actually, I'm going to be out for a while. That's going to be a serious injury. So I took it step by step. And, you know, what I learned is that you have to listen to your body and feel things out. And the diaphragms kind of taught me that. Like when you breathe in, breath work taught me that. When you breathe in, you're trying to fill from the bottom up. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to let go of tension, right? And then have the diaphragm push down. It's like you're pushing with the diaphragm down, getting rid of tension in the belly, and then that expands the lungs, creates a vacuum in your lungs. Your lungs aren't muscle. Your lungs don't breathe. Your diaphragm is almost like, to me, I feel like attached to your lungs in a little bit to where it pushes down and the lungs just, you know what I mean? It creates that space. But what you'll learn through doing this breath work is that when you push out, you're supposed to get rid of tension, but you're now feeling tension. Your body doesn't want to do this. Not that, but it can't do it. At least not as good as it should. So if you feel things out, like, oh, you know, I'm kind of, for me, tight on this right side of my belly. Kind of learned, okay, well, and then my glutes also frozen. So it's like, I feel like I'm constantly rolled over here when my glute should be activated. My abductors should be sort of like pushing in, you know, allowing the, as you can see, the hip to rotate over, if you can see that. So it's like, it kind of felt like there was tension right here. And because of that, also the glute wasn't really activating properly, and so weren't the abductors. And I've learned this recently, but I learned that if you can activate this, and then breathe over and keep pushing with the abductors. You know, you want to keep pushing with this right leg and you want to keep the glutes activated, then just grab something. And then now you're going to pretend this is your spine, right? And you're twisting this way. Now you just want to take your spine and expand it. Whoa, that's, damn. At the bottom, right? You want to kind of like push into that tight area, you know? You're not trying to like just twist. You're trying to take your arms and push in the direction that's tight and then breathe into that area while activating the adductors and the glutes. And then you'll feel tension in that area. You can feel the stretch in that area that's tight, but you can also feel underdeveloped muscles, the glutes and abductors in this scenario, and how if they were more developed, you would feel a more stable breath in that position. And from that point on, you just have to remember that, and every day now do that. Now every day, activate the glute, the abductors, and breathe into this side. You're gonna sometimes experience cramping, but you'll every day get better. Muscles will be sore. Right now my glutes are fucking very sore. My abductors too are a little sore, but not too much because I just got done stretching for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. But that's one point of conflict in me. Another one is, weirdly enough, even though I have knots in my upper back on the right side, on the left side, when I breathe in and go up, oftentimes there's a knot on the right here, which I can feel with my hands, that like locks up and prevents breath from rising into that area. And to stretch that, I mean, it's really simple. You use the diaphragm. You stretch around your breath. You know, that's what I mean. I'm starting to do yoga more, because it's like that's kind of what yoga is. It's moving around the breath. You know, the body moves around the breath. And what I learned is, again, in this case, you want to push down with your diaphragm, get rid of tension in the belly, brace, and then keep breathing, you know? Like, you already have your brace, right? Now you just want to kind of like stretch around that area. You can use your arm as like a hook on your knee, but remember, you only want to like tense up the muscles that you have to. And then from this point, you have that whole area isolated. You'll feel a stretch on the bottom side of your back, but you also see how that stretch goes up and connects to that knot, because it's connected. So it's like you kind of have to start from the ground up. If you want to get to this problem area, you have to find a way to release tension so that stretch can travel up the body to that problem area. And you can only do this, again, through breath work. So it's extremely important. It's also good for stamina. It's good for timing and rhythm, because it doesn't just connect you to your body. It's not just that the breath moves around the body, it's that, in a sense, your breath is also connected to your mind. So it's like when you run, you know, not like that. I'll do like 3 breaths in and then 1 breath out. And it's like when I land on my left leg, on that 4th breath, the exhale, I always exhale, and then it repeats the process. And it just connects to it. It helps you keep tension away. It helps you fight tension while you're moving. You know, I don't know how to describe it. I don't know what it is, but I can feel it. You can just tell, you know, everything just feels so much more efficient, like there's purpose in your step now. So that's just something, you know, another thing that I've learned. Also, like with music, it's like it helps you just connect more whenever you're singing and whenever you're like just rhythm. You know, your breath connects, I feel like, naturally to rhythm. And whenever you can learn to pair the diaphragm with the rhythm, with the movements in your body, like a striker, you know, like somebody like that, you start to find a different level of power, a different level of stamina, of fluidity. And I think it's something that a lot of people aren't talking about. And I understand, I don't know what I'm talking about, but I'm doing it, and I can just slowly, just like, it's not that I can see the future. You know, that sounds stupid just saying it out loud. But it's like whenever I do something, you can just inherently feel or tell or understand the benefits of doing something without even having to obtained or felt it in the first place. For example, this tension right here. Whenever I do this and breathe into that tight area, I can inherently feel that when I can control this position and really like master what I'm doing right now, even though it seems small, I can understand that my breath will now have a new foundation, because instead of there being an area that my body and breath used to hide from, it now has control over that position. And now my bracing is that much more effective, which means I can transfer and handle more power, if that makes sense, safely, you know, and efficiently, because again, it's connected to rhythm. And if there's anything, I don't think there's anything more efficient than rhythm in movement, you know. I don't because it's, you know, it's like, it's the same reason why seeing a drunken master is kind of impressive, like somebody drunk who can still fight and who's just completely loose, and it seems like they have no timing, like their timing's completely off, but they're still landing all the punches. There's a reason why that's impressive, because it's almost like they understand rhythm to a point where they can strike in between the notes. They just know, you know. That's what you're seeing. That's what I believe you're seeing. But the point still stands that it's the rhythm in the first place that they have to understand to be able to hit in between. Because if they didn't understand that rhythm, if they had poor timing, they would just get hit. I feel like that's kind of common sense. I feel like I don't need to completely understand it to be able to understand it. I feel like I don't need to have unlocked it, but I desperately want to. So that's just what I think. So the diaphragm's one. Another one is my glutes. like my glutes and my hips. I want to unlock those areas. Those are extremely neglected areas, which I've been doing a lot of work on recently, but it's been like weird work. Because again, it's like I haven't been able to activate my glutes, if that makes sense. But now I'm finally being able to, and I'm like every day just tensing up the muscles, putting it in spots that it just isn't used to at all, and firing that fucking muscle up, and then going and doing some squats or some shit like that, you know what I mean? And just, you know, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that every day. And it's like I can feel it. I can now activate my glute on a step. And now whenever my right leg goes back and my left leg goes forward, I no longer feel stiffness in my hip. The glute is still activated in that position. And I now feel a muscle that used to lock up lengthening in that step. So you notice improvements. My calf, which you may have never noticed this, I'm still working on it, but I can kind of, if you can see, activate this calf muscle right here, which I've never been able to do, because on this leg, I was always able to. I could create like you can't see it because of the bad lighting, but I can create like a sharp, you know, kind of looks like a blade, and it's just your calf. You know, I've always been able to flex it that way, but with my right leg, it's always been just hidden. I couldn't just feel it and activate it. But I've been massaging that area a lot, doing like a lot of, you know, footwork, stretches that you saw with my foot earlier, among other things. And, you know, massaging that area a lot, because holy shit, it's tight. I can feel it with my finger. And every day it just gets a little bit better. So if I can improve all of these things, I mean, the goal is to be able to unlock kicks. I want to be able to do every type of kick and fast, you know? That's just, maybe not every type, but 80%. And it needs to be a good kick. Can't be bullshit. So that's the goal. And besides that, I mean, I need to practice footwork, man. I don't really do that anywhere near as much as I should. But I feel like it's because, in a way, I'm still not strong. I still have issues, you know? I don't want to practice footwork too much, you know? I kind of would rather just do it as like exercise, you know, to get basic understanding. But I don't want to do a lot of practice right now, just because I feel like I have so many problems with my body that it would be a bad idea. I'm OCD about this. The way I see it, and I hate how people make me hate myself, you know? And that's something I need to get over. Because the way I see it, I have the rest of my life to train and do something that I just like to do for the sake of doing it. And I don't have to practice footwork right now. I don't want to. And the reason why is because I would rather get everything on my P's and Q's in order before going in and actually learning how to do something like that. You know what I mean? Just because I don't want to develop bad habits. I don't want to start training and then it's like I typically lean to one thing because of this. And I guess, yes, I could just train and then later go back and then address those mistakes, but I don't know. I would rather do it this way. I would just rather do it this way. I don't have a problem with it. I'm also saving money. Because, well, not when it comes to footwork. That doesn't make sense. But I mean, whenever it comes to actually going to a class. Like, it just doesn't make sense right now to go to a class. So there's something tightening up on this side of the leg, which is stopping me from being able to contract my calf. So I'm just digging into that area while trying to contract the calf on the other side. And it's causing like a lot of cramping, and there's just a lot of tension right now. I don't even think you can see it on video, so I'm probably just like making weird faces. But yeah, the calves are not as locked up. One thing I've been doing is just going on barefoot runs every time my calves get back to like 100% and just slowly training my legs up, you know? That's all we're trying to do here is slowly train the legs up, you know? I want to be able to go on barefoot runs and keep that springiness and not have my calves just feel shot afterwards every single time. I think everybody should be able to run barefoot. That's what I believe. Without getting knee problems and without heel striking, you should have a natural bounce in your step on concrete or dirt. Everybody. It's not a high standard. That should be the standard. You know, like no problems in your hip, like nothing should be collapsing. Everything should be able to individually take that step on just that single leg, bounce, and do it again and again without anything compensating or what. And you know, I've been training for like a year and a half, 2 years to get to this point. And there's probably a better way of doing this. There definitely is. You know, don't judge me. I'll say that. Don't judge me. That was a voice crack. That wasn't me like crying. Like, don't judge me. No, but you know, I probably could have done better. But it is what it is, man. Still where I'm at, and I'm happy with it. So, and the way I see it, I'm going to keep improving. Like every day I get better, and there's something new I can do, and it's the best. You know, I just wish people around me would do that. Shit sucks. But yeah, there's a lot of tension on the right side of this calf right here. A lot. I'm just massaging it out, then going back to the other side. Nice. Nice. GHD back extensions. I need to do more of those for my lower back. I'm about to go do that right now while I'm on this run. Sounds like a good plan. It's like really the only thing I need to do besides work on my upper back just a little bit more and doing this run. Yeah, but that's what I'm gonna go do. There's just a little update on everything. I don't really think there's anything else I want to address. Like that's just kind of, I mean, the diaphragm, I'm getting a lot better at singing because now there's like a lot of, now there's a lot less tension that I carry in my abdomen, which again, you get through breath work, through stretching, through listening to the body, finding, you know, the points that are tense, finding the points that are weak, understanding that the areas that are tense are because of the points that are weak, and that you also need to massage the tight muscle to help aid the process to heal. In doing that, you can undo these knots most of the time, and you know, these old compensation patterns, whatever you want to call them, I'm not really sure. And then through that, you can unlock a better breath and a stronger body. Again, a more fluid body. You just get better. And it makes you a better singer. Still think I'm a shitty singer. I don't know why. And that's a genuine question. I don't know if, you know, maybe I'm still discovering my singing voice, or like maybe I just need more practice or what. I don't care. I'm just gonna keep singing. But yeah, that's about it. I need to go do this run to wake up because I drank a fucking fat coffee. I'm still tired. So I have to roll up the socks, use the bathroom, and get busy. I hope anybody watching this has a wonderful rest of their day. Stay out of trouble. Don't do anything stupid. It's not worth it. Do something productive if you have the time. If you don't have the time, ask yourself why, and ask yourself, is it worth it? Because you only live once. Other than that, take care.